iOS 17 is officially available to the public, and here are the features that you need to know about today. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. I'm Dawn from Tech Savvy Creative, and I help creative entrepreneurs go from tech overwhelmed to tech empowered. We are going to be diving into iOS 17, which is Apple's latest release of their operating system for their iPhone devices. Now, this update is an interesting update. I feel like there's a ton of really little things that kind of add up to a really great experience, and today we're going to be diving into what those features are and how they're going to impact you. Now, I'm a big advocate for always updating your device. It is important to run your software updates on your computers, your smaller devices, your phones, whatever those devices may be, because not only do they include new features like the things that we're going to talk about today, but they also include fixes for security vulnerabilities and other issues. So if you are somebody that likes to ignore your software updates, take this as a gentle nudge to start updating your software as regularly as possible. As always, make sure you have a backup of all of your data before updating your software on any of your devices. iOS 17 is full of a ton of little enhancements, so let's dive in and start talking about those new features you can expect. First up, contact posters. Now, contact posters is a really unique way to create a unique visual identity for yourself when you are calling other people. So how it works is you create your own contact poster on your phone. This is linked to your contact information, and when you call somebody else, your contact poster will appear on their phone. So you can make it fun, you can change the colors, do all these different things with the background. But for me personally, I like it because I get to choose a photo that I want my friends to see, not necessarily one that they might have in their camera roll from some escapade from some other time. Anyway, so contact posters are a really unique way to showcase your identity. Our next feature we're going to talk about is visual voicemail. Basically how this works when somebody is calling you and they leave you a voicemail, as they are leaving you a voicemail, what they are saying appears in text on your iPhone screen. So if that unknown caller ended up being your doctor's office or somebody that you do need to actually talk to, you can answer that phone call as they are leaving that voicemail message so you can continue the conversation. Next up is my praise the Lord. This feature is here. It is sharing AirTags. This is probably one of the biggest pain points that I have in our own Apple ecosystem. My husband and I use AirTags for a lot of things. We have them on our dog's collars. We have them in our children's backpacks. We have them on keys, devices, wallets, you name it. They are everywhere. But the problem is only one of us can have that AirTag on our phones. So now with this feature, you can share AirTags. That will allow you and another person to share the same AirTag so both of you can use your Find My app to find and locate that AirTag. This is also going to prevent a lot of those messages that say, hey, an unknown AirTag is following along with you, even though it was just your husband's keys. So really excited for this update, and this is definitely solving a pain point that many of us have. Next up, let's talk about messages. There were a ton of little updates inside of the Messages app itself. Now in iOS 17, you can make and save your own stickers. You can also swipe to reply, and there's also a button that will let you catch up on a group message that maybe you've kind of been behind on. So you just tap that button and it goes up to the last point that you have read the message so you can continue and catch up on all of that nonsense that you've been missing. If you are somebody that's ever said, hey, I'll text you when I get home, or you've said to somebody, please text me when you get home so I know you're safe, the check-in feature is going to be one of your favorites. Now, how this works, the person that is leaving is going to start the check-in. That sends a notification to the other person that they have left their destination. Now, when they arrive to their final destination, you will get an alert saying that they have arrived safely. If they have not arrived in what an expected amount of time is, it's going to alert you. It's also going to alert the person that sent it and say, hey, like, are you doing okay? But it's going to send the other person information like where you are, what your battery life is, so you can make sure that person is safe and you can make follow-up steps if needed. The next feature inside of Messages that I want to talk about is audio message transcription. Now, I send audio messages to my friends all of the time, but sometimes I do not want to listen to it, or I'm in a situation like I'm rocking the baby, whatever, where I don't necessarily want to be listening to any type of audio. Now with transcription, those audio messages come in and those messages will be transcribed into text. Not only is this a great convenience feature, but it is a phenomenal feature for accessibility purposes as well. Now, this next feature is something that hasn't been talked about a ton, but as I've been using the developer beta of iOS 17, this is probably one of my favorite features that I've experienced so far. So obviously, security of our accounts is important, and that's why we use two-factor authentication. Now, when we receive those second codes, we receive them in a text message or in an email. Now, with iOS 17, if it comes to you via email, you can autofill it using your keyboard. Excellent. But here's the feature that I love the most. Now, after you have filled that secondary code into that account and you've logged in, iOS 17 will delete that message. That way you don't end up with a ton of unread messages and emails in your inbox that are just codes. I don't know about you guys, but if I'm not careful, I will end up with hundreds of those codes unread in my text messages. So now in iOS 17, that cleans it all up for us, and big fan. One of my favorite features for sure. Moving on to another update. This one is in Spotlight. So when you pull down your menu and you get your little bar on the top, that Spotlight menu is now interactive. For example, if I type in alarms, my alarms are going to showcase right there in the Spotlight menu, and I can toggle them off and on right there. I don't have to actually go to the Alarms app to open them up and to set them. Next up, let's talk about FaceTime. So FaceTime has gotten a couple of updates, one of them being FaceTime voicemail. So if you are trying to FaceTime somebody and then they don't answer, you can now leave them a visual voicemail. You can say hi, leave a message, and then that person will get a recorded version of that voicemail to their messages. Another really exciting FaceTime feature is FaceTime on the Apple TV. So if you are somebody that uses FaceTime to connect to your family members, you can now broadcast that FaceTime call on your Apple TV. You will see them all up big on the screen. You'll be able to see yourself. You'll be able to position the phone accordingly right below the TV. And it just creates a really immersive and community experience in your FaceTime call. iOS 17 also introduced some new updates for mental health. A brand new journaling app is going to be making its way to iOS 17 later this year. We also get to experience a mental health check-in. Now, when you turn this on, you get notifications at random points throughout the day. And basically, when you click on that notification, it says, hey, how are you doing? You answer a couple of questions, and it keeps track of that data for you. Now, if you are somebody that is focusing on your mental health, data like this is so important so you can see your trends, what is causing different things, and it really helps you in your journey. The next feature we're going to talk about is standby mode. Standby mode gives you a brand new experience on your phone when you go attach your phone to your MagSafe charger. So think of it as like your bedside alarm clock. You can choose the widgets, you can choose what is showing on your standby mode, and when you take your phone and attach it to that MagSafe charger, it gives you that whole new standby experience. If you are somebody that uses your Reminders app to track grocery lists, inside of that list, you will have the option to turn it into a grocery list. Now, when you change that setting to grocery list, it'll take the information in that list and categorize it by its type. So now instead of just one list of whatever you typed in, it'll be categorized by produce, by meats, by dairy, and it just really makes your shopping experience so much better. Now, again, this is one of those like really silly updates, but for me, that uses that shopping list constantly, I love it. It's so great. The next feature I want to talk about is called Name Drop. So if you are ever somewhere and you want to exchange contact information with somebody, using Name Drop, you can take your phones, put them close together, and it will share that contact card with that person. Now, you can decide what is shared with that person, so like your home address and all of that stuff won't go with it, but instead of actually texting that person or finding another way to share your contact information, you can do so just by bringing your two phones together. In iOS 17, you can now download maps to be available to you offline. So if you're going to be somewhere where you know the service is kind of spotty, you can select a general area of a map and it will download that part of the map to your phone so you can access it regardless of what your signal looks like. The last feature I'm going to talk about today is a tiny but mighty update, especially for my creatives out there, and it is the level setting inside of your camera. So in iOS 17, there's a new setting where you can turn on a level. So when you are using your camera in iOS 17, you will be able to see if that picture is leveled before you even take it. Again, it seems like a really silly feature and something really small, but as a content creator and somebody that is using my phone constantly, this is a really great and handy feature to really make my experience so much better. This was a long list of amazing features that are coming to iOS 17, but it is not the full list. There are more features that we have not talked about. And if you want to check out those features, you can visit Apple's website. I'll go ahead and link it in the description below so you can jump on there and check all of these features out for yourself. iOS 17 is already available to the public, so go download it for yourself and check it out. And friendly reminder, before you download and update your software, make sure that you back up your devices and keep your data safe. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking all things iOS 17. I would love it if you subscribe to our channel, so go ahead and click that subscribe button, and I will be releasing videos to keep you up to date with the latest tech news and also how you can use technology to change your life. I'll see you guys next time.